two political parties in American political system. One is the the Democrats. Democrat is 민주당, and they're Republicans. It's 공화당. Barack Obama, the first Black American president of the United States, he is from the Democrats, and George Bush and Donald Trump, he's from the Republican. So there are two parties. Democrats, historically speaking, have been insisting that everybody is equal, or equal rights movement. So there's no such thing like a Black Americans, white Americans, like because now the tension between the white Americans and Black Americans is really really crazy. And then they said Black rights matter, means they think that Black Americans' rights are important. And then there's the opponent sides, they say white Americans' rights matter, things like that. But these tension, these conflicts originate from the first national conflicts. Now we're gonna deal with the Civil War. And the Civil War, which was the bloody conflict between the northern and southern states. Northern states were full of factories and a manufacturing facility, which means they needed to hire those who could speak English, who were literate. Literate means people who were able to speak and write. That's illiterate. So they wanted to hire those people who could communicate with the existing employees. So they needed a very what do I say? Their communication was highly important for them. So the northern state didn't want to hire any slaves. They didn't need any slaves. But the northern states, like southern states, on the other hand, they had plantations. Huge, gigantic size, massive size of farms, farmland and a plantation. They need manure workers. Means they didn't know how to read. They didn't need to know how to read. They didn't need to know how to communicate with other workers. They just worked on the farm all day long. It's a very simple job. Okay? Like a cotton field, myeonhwa, mocha, and tobacco, cigarette, things like that. So Southerners or Southern plantation owners, they brought so many black slaves from Africa to let them work on their farms. Okay? So, but northern states, they didn't need Black Americans because they needed people who could talk, who could write, who could read. Okay? So that lasted from 1861 to 1865 was a turning point in U.S. history. Turning point. So there was a dramatic change. Roughly 3 million soldiers participated in the war, in which resulting in 620,000 deaths. The South's eventual defeat in 1865 means Southern state they just gave up on. And then, they just surrendered. Marked the end of slavery in America. Okay? But, really, in the 1850s, a cultural divide developed between the northern states and southern states. That was obvious. The North was going through the Industrial Revolution, 산업혁명, and they called for the tariff. Tariff means 관세, or imported goods, foreign goods, to protect its new industry. Because you need 관세, tariff, because you protect your own industrial goods and productions. Why? Because think about it. We have a rice grower in Korea, rice grower. But we produce rice. But what about the Chinese rice or Japanese rice or American rice? Very cheap.
Yeah.
So we used tariffs to
Wow.
protect our Korean rice. It's like the imported rice is multiplied by 5 times or 10 times. Really, 5 times, 10 times. What we can buy in Korea. So people don't want to buy imported sweetened rice at all.
Yeah.
That's a tariff. Okay?
Okay.
And the South is still mainly agriculture and dependent on the purchase of goods from abroad. Was
Yeah.
strongly against the import tariff. Okay? So they did not like it because in the South, one state in America means it's bigger than Korean Peninsula, South Korea and North Korea combined. So it's huge. Texas, the state, is 10 times bigger than Korean Peninsula. So one state is bigger than a country. Do you understand? So they couldn't produce things there on their own. They had to import from other country. But the federal government, 전방정부, they started using the tariff systems, which means southern state people, they had to buy so expensive things, right? Understand? So in the meantime, the federal government, 중앙정부, 연방정부, became increasingly opposed to slavery. We don't, what is it? Abraham Lincoln, the president, and it took the position of thousand slaves should migrate to the north to work in the region's burgeoning factory because they were needing more, and then what is it? Industrial revolution. The factories in the north state needed more and more people to come to work, and so in 1858, Abraham Lincoln, beard guy, then running for the Senate, meaning 주지사. Senate is 상원의원, and he gave his famous House Divided speech, like 미국 의회, House of Representatives, 하원의원, 하원, and the Senate 상원. Then he said, House divided, 국회가 나눠져 있다, 분리됐다 speech, in which he stated that the government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. 그래서 나라가 두 쪽으로 노예가 된다, 노예가 안 된다. So although he lost his election, 졌어. His eloquent, 웅변이 잘하는 eloquent, speaking abilities earned him a recognition of the powerful opponent to slavery. 그래서 slavery의 강한 반대자로 자리매김했던 기회가 됐지. Alright, soon after the southern states declared their succession from the United States in America, the stage was set for conflict. 그래서 갑자기 남부가 미국 정부로부터 success, 이제는 내가 안 한다, 안 따르겠다, 이제 우리는 따라오고 놀겠다. It's like 경상남도 said, we want to be our own country. The first shot of the Civil War were fired on April 12, 1861, the Fort Sumter, South Carolina. Both the North and the South had trouble finding the training enough troops to send their combat. New military technology, which included improved rifles and landmine is 지뢰 and 소총, were often more advanced than better strategies. And 그러니까 전투 전략보다 총이나 이런 무기가 더 발전됐던 거예요. And this made his fighting especially bloody. 그래서 어떻게? 전투 작전은 옛날 작전이 막 이렇게 막 줄 서서 하는 건데 총의 성능이 너무 좋아서 그래서 너무 많은 피를 흘렸다. So in the short run, 단기간으로 봤을 때 it seems the two sides were eventually matched. 두 진영이 이제 만나서 전투할 것 같았다. 대규모로. But in the long run, 장기적으로 보면 the North held the insurmountable advantage in terms of industrial strength. 그러니까 북부는 어떻게? 공장을 갖고 있기 때문에. unsurmountable, 이게 정복할 수 없을 만큼의 장점을 북부는 가졌다. 왜? 공장에서 총을 막 만들어내기 때문에. Okay? And the population, 인구도 엄청 많았고, and the determination and win, 그리고 승리에 대한 결심도가 더 컸다. And it prevents the South from gaining diplomatic recognition in Europe. 유럽에서 남부 진영은 어떤 인정도 외교적 인정을 못 받았다. 유럽에서. Why? 노예를 쓰니까. And unable to compete with the North dominant. 북부의 이러한 지배적인 그런 이 전시 흐름을 이길 수 없다는 것을 판단해서 남부는 surrender, 항복했어. 1865년 4월 9일 in the Northern Virginia. After the Civil War, 이런 이 남북 전쟁이 끝나면 Southern states rejoined the United States. 다시 미국에 합류하게 된 거지. And the slave was abolished, 폐지된 거야. 그날 이 노예 제도가. Despite their freedom, 그런데 자유에도 불구하고 most ex-slavemen 이전에 하면 slave였던 사람들은 in Southern state 남부 지역에 lived in desperate in a rural poverty. 아주 절망적인 시골의 가난한 속에. 왜냐하면 주인들이 내팽개치고 땅을 버리고 떠났기 때문에 직업 없어, 먹을 거 없어, 아무것도 없어. This was partly because the war caused severe economic damage to the South. 남부에 엄청난 경제적 피해를 전쟁이 일으켰기 때문에. Then more than half of its farming machinery. 그때 당시 쓰고 있었던 농업 그 기계류의 반 정도가 was destroyed, 다 부셔졌어. 그래서 농업도 지을 수 없었던 거지. And its railroad, 그때 지었던 그 기찻길도 were ruined, 파괴된 거야. North on the other, 북부는 아예 손을 안 댄 거야. 그대로 전쟁 전과 전쟁 후가 거의 같은 모습으로 있기 때문에 지금 미국 남부는 시골 동네, 북부는 산업 동네 이렇게 가는 거죠. 그게 아빠가 가는 거, 디트로이트라든지 지금의 GM. 이제면은 GE가 뭐냐면 미국 최고의 전자회사인데. Okay? You understand?
Yes.
Let's talk about it.